How big is the live-action Red Death versus other truly gigantic kaiju and monsters from other movies and movie franchises? Well, here in this video we will showcase how big the Red Death from the live-action really is, as by the Artbook estimation, and then compare it to 10 other franchises and categories, and in one or more of these categories, it does break size records. Let's begin. So the Red Death was revealed in the movie, the live-action one, to be bigger, way bigger than the one seen in the original animated movie. See, officially the Red Death from the animated movie is listed as 99 feet or 30 meters tall and 400 feet or 122 meters long. But in the movie, the live-action, it seems to be multiple times bigger. Estimations with screenshots from the live-action is kinda hard since we never really get a clear full body shot and with a size reference nearby. But thankfully, we have images of this enormous dragon in the live-action art book, and in here we get to see nearly all of its body, and in front of this is the Night Fury, which seems like an insect compared to it, honestly. So since the image is kinda blurry, we decided to adjust a PNG image of Toothless to be as big as the one showed in the art book, you know, adjusting a little bit. And then with a lot of copy paste, we see that the Red Death would equal to around 70 Night Furies in length, which puts it at 1820 feet long, and that is with the Night Fury size of the animated movies. If the live-action Night Fury is considered, then the Red Death size would push it to over 2000 feet or more, which means 610 meters long, and that makes it around 400 to 500 feet tall, or between 120 and 150 meters. That would make it 4 to 5 times taller and longer than the animated version. But wait, let me make it clear that this isn't the official size or anything like that, but our own estimations as by the art book and the movie scenes. And I'm pretty sure there'll still be that one guy who's like, "Oh, but they said that the size 400 feet and that's that." And to him or her or it, I'll just leave this here. We begin here with the comparison to Kaiju, which means strange beasts in Japanese. There are quite a few franchises out there that feel their own Kaiju, all of them unique and gigantic in size. Starting with the Pacific Rim Kaiju, the biggest of them all are Sladen and the Mega Kaiju, which are 596 feet and 420 feet tall respectively. However, in an interview on one particular Japanese magazine, Paul Giacopo stated that Sladen's body length is more than 900 feet or 270 meters long, which although is impressive, is still half of that of the Red Death from the live-action How to Train Your Dragon movie. Similarly, the biggest kaiju from the Gamera franchise is Iris and the Legion Mother. While the latter, the Legion Mother, is around 160 meters or 520 feet long and 140 meters tall, the former, Iris, is only 99 meters or 324 feet tall. A bipedal kaiju that possesses tentacles that can stretch unnaturally long for up to 2000 meters or 6500 feet. So even though the tentacles can stretch like a loose rubber band, the general size of this Iris is still very small as compared to the Red Death. Anyway, heading over to the Monsterverse Titans, which are still kaiju, the biggest aside from the dead Super Titan skeleton, which we never really got to see alive, are Shimo and Monster Zero. Compared to both of these, the Red Death is double in length and clearly multiple times in volume and mass. The same goes to the many kaiju of the Ultraman universe, of which the biggest are the Gartanathor and the Hyper Zeton Gigan. The latter, Zeton Gigan, is comparable in size to the Red Death and might be close to equal. However, visually, the Red Death, may be due to its wings, looks bigger. So if we compare the Red Death to the kaiju of Pacific Rim, the Gamera universe, Ultraman universe and the Monsterverse, it has them all beat in size. But now when we go to the OG Toho Godzilla universe, there are two kaiju that are from the movies that outsize the Queen of Dragons. One is Godzilla Earth, which shares a similar length of close to 550 meters or 1800 feet long, but with a bigger height of more than 300 meters or greater than 1000 feet. The Red Death and Godzilla Earth are in fact very close to each other in size. But then, here we have another one which is called Dogora, which is a kaiju that is kilometers in length and maybe stretching to infinity. It is the biggest kaiju ever and definitely beats the dragon in size. Thus the Red Death isn't the biggest kaiju if it was ever considered one, but it will definitely be up there. Now this Red Death dragon is also one that is closely tied to the seas of Berg and the volcanic calderas of this area. So in this category of either oceanic or aquatic monsters, it would be high in the ranks, definitely bigger than the megalodons, the krakens and mosasaurus. But there are two underwater monsters, for example, that have been seen in movies that are way bigger. One is the 3.2 kilometer long Karathin from the Aquaman movie, and the other one is the multiple kilometer tall adult Cloverfield monster from the Cloverfield Paradox movie. So in this regard, the category of aquatic creatures, it is pretty massive, but nowhere near the top 3. However, when you compare this to space monsters or cosmic entities from sci-fi and superhero movies, its massive scale suddenly becomes relatively small. For example, Surtur from the MCU Thor Ragnarok is one example that is bigger. When fully powered, he reaches a size comparable to a volcanic mountain range, towering over even Asgard's palace. And then there's another one called the Suma Verminoth from Star Wars, a spacefaring creature with massive tentacles, rumored to span several kilometers or more. Then there's Unicron from Transformers, a being so large that he's not just a robot but an entire planet. And then we have the Marvel Celestials such as Arishem the Judge, who pushes the scale even further. These ancient cosmic entities stand close to planetary size and capable of manipulating planetary systems. So what about we compare dragons versus dragons? When we look at dragons from animated movies and universes, the Red Death doesn't just look smaller, it looks tiny. Take Void Ghidorah for example from Godzilla the Planet Eater. This version of King Ghidorah exists outside normal space-time and manifests as a colossal extra-dimensional serpent that defies physics. Its necks alone seem to stretch over kilometers long and appears like a godlike force rather than a physical monster. Then there's also Super Shenron from Dragon Ball Super, who makes all other dragons look like toys. Super Shenron is so massive that he dwarfs entire galaxies. His body spans across the fabric of the entire multiverse itself. In comparison to him, the Red Death is like an atom, while Shenron is big enough to coil around the universe like a golden serpent god. But when you come down back to Earth, and when you stay within the realm of live-action monsters and dragons, the Red Death reigns supreme in terms of size. Take the former biggest, Orochi, the 8-headed serpent dragon from the Toho movies. Orochi is massive and mythic, towering over forests and castles, but it still doesn't reach the scale of the Red Death. Then you have Kaiser Ghidorah from Godzilla Final Wars. While he is a city-level threat and certainly massive in his own right, standing around 150 meters tall and way more massive than Monster Zero, he is still shorter and smaller overall than the Red Death in both length, mass, height and whatever. In the realm of live action, no other dragon can physically match the sheer size and the bulk of the Red Death, and thus this is the biggest live action dragon to ever be featured in movies. Well, till the Bewilderbeast from the live action sequel comes in, I guess, but that's in the future. And so as you can see, the Red Death from the live action How to Train Your Dragon movie would be bigger than any Monsterverse titan except for the Super Skeleton, bigger than any Ultraman, Gamera or Pacific Rim Kaiju, and the biggest live action dragon in movies. And so with that we end this video. Now if you like this one, then watch this other one too, and do check out our channel as well. We might just have things we haven't seen before. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, fam.